Alright, so welcome back again. My name is Jesse, and in this wonderful and exciting tutorial, be trying to see how to do an end-to-end data science project using a very wonderful dataset from Udemy, right? So Udemy is an online platform that teaches and offers a lot of courses for people to learn. So be trying to pick their dataset and try and see how to use it to do some end-to-end data science project. So by the end of this long tutorial, we're going through this particular stuff. So we'll be using the Udemy dataset and then we're trying to do some simple EDA, exploratory data analysis on that particular dataset. Then we'll try and see how to build recommendation systems, and then we will see whether we can be able to do some predictive analysis from it. And then finally, we will productionize all that we have done with Streamlit. So let's see the packages we're using. So we're using Pandas, we're using Matplotlib, Seaborn, Plotly. We also be using scikit-learn in case you want to do the predictive analysis stuff. We may use, and you can also work with PyCaret. And then the final stuff in productionizing our app, we're trying to use Streamlit. You can also use Flask. We may try and see whether we'll be able to do that in the future. So let's see what we'll be doing. So this is going to be our simple workflow. So we're going to pick in our dataset, then we'll be doing some simple EDA analysis on our dataset using Pandas, Matplotlib, Seaborn, Plotly. Then we later on try and see how to do some simple keyword extraction from the test within our test. Yes, wonderful. Then you will try and see how to build a recommendation system using the same dataset, and then later on in the future we'll see whether we can be able to do some simple machine learning activities with the dataset. Then you will build our product, right? Our final product using Streamlit. So let's see what you'll be building at the end of this wonderful course. So I'll come back to my browser, and then this is going to be a simple demo of what we're building. So we're building a simple recommendation app that is useful for recommending app as well as EDA. So let's check it out. So this is the simple EDA aspect of the app. If I come back to the app, we have this EDA aspect, so we can just check the basic. It's going to give us a simple overview of all the things we can get from that particular dataset, right? So it's going to run this wonderful visualizations for us. So it's going to be the distribution of the subject, which is going to be a pie chart, and we have a bar chart that's going to analyze them for us using Streamlit and then Plotly behind the scene and Altair. We'll be combining all of these things to build this wonderful app. So if I come down here to our app, you can see that we have this wonderful app here in which you can check for the percentage. All of these details is dependent upon the data we are using, right? So this is more interesting. So you can use Streamlit to make your work easy and more interactive. Right, so that's what we're trying to do right in this wonderful course. So I can even expand this one out, and you can see it bigger, right? So that you can be able to see all the various things within this one, right? Very cool. So using Streamlit. Okay, let me bring myself down here, and let's bring the. So that's what we're trying to do. So this is part of the ED aspect of the app that will be building. So let me take this one off. Okay, so let's see another stuff you also be doing. So this is just the basics of the EDA aspect. You also move from the EDA. You can also check for the correlation, right? You can also do some simple correlation plots between the dataset, trying to derive insight from the given dataset they have given to us. So this dataset is also available on Kaggle, so you can also get it out from Kaggle. And then you can also do some time series analysis. So there are a lot of things you can do with the dataset, right? The power is in your hands. So this is going to be the correlation plot. So we have this wonderful correlation plot. You can check the counts per the paid courses and the non-paid courses for all the different categories. Very nice. You can also check from this one to, let's say, the number of subscribers, or the number of subscribers per the category. We have business, we have web development, we have musical, we have graphic design. It's going to analyze them and give you the correlation, right? Which is a very nice way you can explore your data, right? It's very simple, right? You can see all of these things. You can also come down here to the subject and can also change it from the subject to something else, right? In case you want to check for the distribution of the number of subscribers per year. You can also see that one here. So that is something we'll be trying to build from scratch, right? Very nice. So let's move on from here to the other section of the app. So it's going to be a long tutorial, so apologies for the noise you may be hearing behind. So this is a very nice plot. So if I come back from the EDA from correlation to a time series, you can also see a similar plot in which we are trying to check the rate, just as we have done here, right? We can also do the same thing with a simple time series plot, like a line chart, which shows how many subscribers, how many courses, how many lectures. So the number of subscribers, I think Udemy started from 2011, so it has been increasing. This is the dataset ends at 2017, right? That is why it is up to that point. You can also change it from the number of subscribers to the year, like as you wish, right? Say the day, then it's going to tell you which day of the month, right, is having the highest numbers of subscribers, right? And as you can see, it's very exciting. So that's something simple we'll be building. Let's move on to the recommendation. So if I come back to the recommender, right, so recommend. So inside this place, I can search for a particular course, then it's going to recommend for me some courses, right? So that is for the recommend option. So this is the simple aspect. So in case I don't know any course, I can just type in Python, right? I don't know any course, I can just type in the term Python and I can just click on recommend. I'm going to recommend 7 different courses for me, which is very simple, right? Something very simple. It's going to give you the data set with everything and then the recommendations. So it's taking some time because it's doing some competition behind. So as you can see from here, it's just giving us our recommendation. So you can get the recommendation as in the format of a JSON, right? Like this, like in case you want to work it like an API, right? Something like this. Or you can use it like this option. So it's going to recommend for us. So the particular course, right? Python, and the number of score, right? The link to that particular course. So you can actually copy this link or open the link in a browser. Then it's going to send you to that particular course, right? So very cool. You can also check for, these are all the recommendations, right? All the recommendations. And you can see that all of them are similar, right? They are almost the same. Python, Argo. You can also pick one course. So let's pick this one here. I'm going to copy this one here, right? And I'm going to search for a recommend or make it to recommend. So you can use a simple term like this in case you don't know the course, or you can paste in the whole course like this. So if I paste in this, it's going to recommend for me all the courses that are similar to this, right? Which is very cool. So recommend. So I go with the recommend again, it's going to recommend a course for us. So this is a very simple approach using a pairwise cosine similarity. So we try to see how to do all of these things in this wonderful tutorial. And you can see that that's recommended actual courses, right, which are all related. So this is Python algo trading, sentiment trading, like all of these things actually make sense. Very cool, right? You can even check for flags. Let's check for flags. So the data set is up to 2017, so we can't check for Streamlit, right? Because that time Streamlit was not yet available. So if I go with flags now, we can see that recommend for me any course on flags. So we're going to run. It's going to give us our result here. As you can see, it seems that there is nothing called flags there. Very interesting. Let's try again. Flags like this. So that's something you have to work about, right? And as you can see, it has given us this wonderful course. So build a SaaS app with Flash course. So that's a very nice course. Another course on professional Python web development using Flash. So all of these courses is going to recommend for you, right? And you can actually pick this course here, right? And then when you pick this course, you can also search for the recommend. In case you don't want a single term, you want a full term like this. So this is going to pick all courses that are similar to this, right? And if I check recommend again, it's going to give me the same result, right? I hope the audio is okay and everybody can hear me. But instead of that, it's giving us, this is SaaS, Flask, and this is also Node.js. Almost the same approach, very similar. And this is also the same thing, right? It's very cool. How to become an app developer. Very cool. It's going to give you the score, similarity score here, as well as the price of the course and the number of students who have taken these courses. Very, very nice. So let's see how to build this app from scratch. So we'll be doing everything from scratch. So this is going to be our workflow. So be picking our data set, going to be doing EDA analysis, keyword extraction, recommendation system, then you try and productionize it. So we may break at some point and continue. So let's start from scratch. So I'll come back again and then let's stop our app. I've already opened Jupyter Notebook, so I'll copy Jupyter Notebook, right? So this is something very simple that everybody can do. So let's copy Jupyter Notebook here and then we'll work on it. I'll copy this one, paste it inside my browser. And the course was open for us. Very cool. Okay, so let's come back again and then let's open it. So this is going to be very, very exciting. So fasten your seatbelt. And apologies for how fast I may be speaking and any noise you may be hearing behind. So in case you want more, you can also check the links below for some interesting materials on how to master machine learning, Python, building web apps with Streamlit, building CLIs, and the rest. Okay, so let's go back to our workspace. So this is my workspace here. And inside this place that I have, there's nothing here, right? So if I go back here to my workspace, there's nothing here. We only have my data inside my data folder. If I check the data, we have only the dataset which we got from Kaggle, right? So you can get a dataset from Kaggle, or you can just check the repository in the description section below. So So this is it. So this is the dataset. So Udemy calls that the name of the dataset, and then this is our readme. So these are the only things there, right? So let's check the readme. If I go back and I check this readme here, so these are all the questions. This is the app we built finally. So these are all the questions to be trying to answer, right? So there are lots of questions we can get from this. So I'll come back again. That's already open here. Now I'm using the new Jupyter notebook. That's why we have Python 3.8 S Python here. And I'll open it from here. So let's close our app, right? So this is the app we building finally. So let me close it and I'll stop it, right? So I'm going to change the name from here. I'm going to call it as end-to-end data science project, right? With Udemy Dataset. Udemy Dataset. Maybe I may change the name, but that is the name that about it. Let me make it bigger. Now let's see what we're doing. So this is going to be simple end-to-end data science project. So what we'll be doing that, as we saw earlier, I want to be trying to work on this. This is going to be our workflow. We're trying to do some simple data preparation. Oh, right. The data set is almost clean. We'll be doing some simple EDA. Then we'll try and see how to do some keyword extraction. KE. Then you try and see how to do recommendation system. So then later on we'll try and see whether I can do some simple ML predictive aspect. And then finally you will productionize it with Streamlit. You can also use Flask, right? But Streamlit make it very simple for us. Okay, that is what we'll be trying to do. So let's start from scratch. So we first of all load our data set, then you check the various things we can do from that particular data set. So let's check it out. So this is going to be my EDA aspect. Then inside the EDA we have a lot of questions we can answer from it. So we'll be checking all of these questions. So let's load our data packages, EDA packages. So we'll be loading the packages that we're working on. So it's going to be importing pandas as we always do. Import pandas as PD, then you'll be importing NumPy as NP, right? So these are the EDA packages to be using. Then we also be importing the other packages that will help us with our plots. So we'll be loading our database packages. So import matplotlib. So matplotlib.py plots as plt, and then be importing seaborn. So import seaborn as SNS. Then with matplotlib inline, right? So that's something very simple. So this is what you'll be doing with our work, right? So we are importing matplotlib as plt, seaborn as SNS, and then we're also going to hide all the warnings. So we'll be hiding the warnings. You hide all warnings, right? All necessary warnings. So it's going to be import warnings, then warnings, dot filter warnings. Then we're going to ignore all the warnings, so ignore. So this is also going to help us hide all the errors, unnecessary deduplication errors, right? Because that is something simple. Now let's load our dataset. So it's going to be df pd.read _ csv. Then I'll go into my data folder. Inside my data folder I have my Udemy courses.csv. So that is the dataset, right, which is found here, as you can see. So that's the dataset you're trying to analyze. So let's check it out. So df.head. If I preview this dataset, there are a lot of things we can do with this dataset. So the power is in your hands. So in case you are given a dataset like this, what can you do? So we have a course title. So with this course title, we'll be trying to see how to find the longest course and the shortest course, right? Which is the longest course, the shortest course. What are the keywords within the course that makes it more relevant? We'll be trying to understand some basic stuff from the course title. We also have the is paid price to help us know which of them is the highest price, the price that you can put in case you are creating a course. What is the price that you will need, right? So let me paste in the questions. And you also see that we also have the number of subscribers, number of reviews, number of lectures, all levels, and the rest. So there are a lot of things we can do from this dataset. So let me paste in the questions we'll be working on. So these are all the various questions we'll be trying to answer. So I'll be trying to see from the course title alone, right? These are some of the questions we can ask. So one of the questions you can answer is that what is the most frequent words in a course title? So what are the key words within a course title? What is the longest or shortest course title? How can we build recommendation systems using the course title, right? Using similarity, the most famous courses by number of subscribers. That is for the course title. We can also check for the subject. What is the distribution of each subject or category? So the subject here is also like the category, right? How many courses per a particular category? What is the distribution of categories per year? How many people package a particular subject? So what is the proportion? This is very useful to help you know how to concentrate and how to market a particular category and what is the market, right? In case you want to also create a course for Udemy. Then also for the published year, we can get the number of courses per year, which year has the highest number of courses, what is the trend of courses per year. So that is also another data we can get from that is like time series. Then the levels can also, so these are all the questions we can also do. So let me copy these ones here, all these questions, I'll copy them, then we'll try and answer them for our EDA. So there are a lot of things you can actually do, right, from a simple data set like that. You may be thinking it's small, but you can derive a lot of insight from that. All of them has to do with how many questions you can derive from it. So this is it. So these are all the questions. So we'll be trying to pick them one after the other. So first of all, we're going to be picking the course title, right? You'll be trying to do this one for the recommendation later. So this is going to be for the recommendation system. So we'll do that one later. But the first one we'll be doing that, we'll be picking this particular one. So that's going to be the first column, right? The subject category. So I'll copy this. And then I'll start from here. So this is going to be our simple EDA. So EDA on subject or category. Right, so that is the EDA on it, and I'm going to paste in the questions here. So these are all the questions we'll be trying to answer in this particular session. So in case you have any questions or contribution, you can put inside the comment section below. And I know I speak very fast, but apologies. Okay, so let's see. So what is the distribution of subjects, right, within our course? So if I go back and I do df.columns, you can see that we have these particular columns. We have the course ID, course title, URL, is paid, price, number of subscribers, number of reviews, and we have the subject, right? So the subject refers to the category. So what is the distribution of subject? So we can see, and also how many courses per subject. So let's see first of all how many subjects or categories are there, right? Are there in the dataset? So it's going to be my df. Now I'll pick the subject column, right? Then if I pick the subject column, I can just go with .unique. So .unique is going to tell me how many of them are there. So these are the subjects we have, right? So we have this business finance, we have graphic design, we have musical instrument, we have web development. So in case you want to design a course, these are the main categories you should concentrate on, right? That is how many unique ones. You can also get the number by passing in length here. So if I pass in length around this, we can get our answer, right? So the answer for our question is that there are 4 different categories. That is the first one. So what is the distribution? You have gotten 4 different courses. We can also move on to the next question. What is the distribution of subjects? So let's see the distribution. So the distribution of subjects is going to be, it's like the value count, right? So let's check it out. So the first one is going to be df, I'll pick the subject column, and I'll just go with .value count. So with this option, we can get the value count of the entire courses. So web development is having the highest, right? Followed by business finance by just 1 point. The musical instrument and graphic design. So in case you want to design a course, notice that is where you should concentrate upon, right? So we can just do this option. You can also convert this one into a plot. So let's do a plot of this. And it's always advisable to not just give numbers, right, but also give plots, right? So .plot. Then the kind of plot here is pie, right? You can just go with the bar chart like that. It's going to give you a very nice plot for us, which is very cool, right? That is the first one. We can also move on from this using matplotlib to use a different plot. This is not the only one. This is just using bar chart, but we can also move from bar chart to use pie chart. So let's try it with pie chart. Here's with pie chart. So how do you do that? So you can just come back again and change this one from bar to pie, right? This is going to be small, so I'm going to come back again and do plt.figure. I'm going to change the figure size. So figure size is going to be 2010, right? Then I'm going to specify what is going to be PLT.show. You can also put the title there in case you want to. Let's put the title PLT, but let's not put the title. Let's move on like that. And now I can just print it out. So this is going to give me the same distribution of charts, right? But this is going to be in the format of a pie chart. So as you can see from here, right? So we have the business finance, we have the graphic design, and then the rest, right? Very cool. So let me change the theme to save us time. I may change it back again because I think the black theme is nice for me anyway, so that I'll be able to see the chart all. So that is something very simple, right? So you can see from here that this is how our chart is, right? Very nice. So there's a higher percentage of the data set within the data set is web development, followed by business finance and the rest, right? Okay, that is something nice. You can also reduce the plot because it's looking back. So I can make it like 10:5 if you want it to be like that. So this is going to reduce it to be something like this, which is okay, right, for us. That is something very nice. Now let's move on from this code. You can also use another alternative. So let's try the other alternative. This is going to be method 2. So this method we are using Seaborn, right? So this is using Seaborn. So it's going to be my sns.count plot. Now passing the particular column. So the particular column I'm passing is going to be my subject column. So this is another way you can also do that. So with this option, we can get a very nice plot for us, right? Which is also very cool, right? And it's very cool. And you can see that this one, the naming here is not very well. So you can change the size. You can make it like this. So plt.figure as we did. Then figure size, set it as, let's say, 2010, right? And then you can also change, in case you want to rotate this one down, you can come back again and do plt.stix. Then you specify that you want to do a rotation, and specify the rotation to 45. Then plt.show. So let's give it a title so that we can see it later on. So I can bring my plt.title. Then I'll pass in the title, which is going to be the value count, right? Value count of subject. Or we can just call it a plot, rather there's a plot. If I arrange like that, now it's going to give me my chart in a very nice format. You can see that it has given us a plot of value count of subjects, and you can also see that it has rotated it all, right? So that is how to do that. This looks too big. We can reduce it in case you want by specifying that I want this one to be 1510, right? And it's also going to do the same thing for you. That is how to do some simple basic plot with it, right? Very cool. Okay, so let's move on from this option. It's too big again. Let's move on from just, we have gotten some simple information about it, right? So that is the distribution of the subject. Now let's move on to the next question we can ask. So the question we can ask again is that if I come back to our chat here, we had this particular question still on the subject. We have gotten the distribution of subject. How many courses per subject? You have gotten that one, right? How many courses per subject? So we did that one using the value count. Now the distribution of subject per year, we can also do that one, but we'll be working on it later. This is going to be under time series, so I can just put this one here, right? So that we don't confuse ourselves. Let's check another one that we can also answer. How many people package a particular subject, right? So how many people bought a particular subject, and what subject is the most popular? So based on what we have done, just from this particular plot, we can know a lot of questions, right? You have considered the most popular course is web development, right? Most popular subject is web development, followed by business, and then we also see that the most people buy this one than this, right? You can also see the numbers here, which we saw with this particular one, right? So you have answered most of the questions for this subject. Now let's move on to another stuff you can also do. Now let's move on from the subject to the subscribers, right? So we'll be comparing the subject with the subscribers. So that's going to be the next question. So I can come back here, which is going to be this one. So I'm just going to move that one up just to save us time because we have gotten the subject. So let's get the subscribers, and then you combine this one and this one together. So I'll copy this, and we're going to answer those questions. So the questions we'll be answering is going to be EDA on subscribers. It's going to be this option. So these are the questions we'll be trying to answer. So which course has the highest number, right, of subscribers, average number of subscribers per subject, right? So we did the subject right now, so let's answer this particular question. And then number of subscribers per year. So we had our data set here, which is the one we have seen. We want to get the number of subscribers, this column, and then the subject, right? So we are answering this particular question, number of subscribers per subject. So it's going to be very simple. So the question we are trying to answer is, what's the number of subscribers per subject? It's going to be my DF, right? Then I can just go with this option. This is the first option, right? If I do this option here, subject, right, dot value count. So this value count here, this will still answer that particular question, right? Number of subscribers per subject. It may look like it's answering it, but it's not the right way to answer. So to number it, or to get the right answer, right, you have to make sure that you are going to count, because if you check our data set from here, some courses have more subscribers. Like this one is going to have 2,147, right, which is far more than this. So using the value count is not going to give you the number of subscribers per subject. It's going to give you the number of courses, right? So this is going to give you the number of courses per subject, right? Not the subscribers. That's one thing you have to understand, per subject. But in case you want to get the number of subscribers, right, it's going to be this option. This is where you use group by. So you can use group by to help you do that, right? So it's going to be this. It's going to be my df dot group by I pass in what I want. So I want to group the entire stuff by the subject, right? So subject, group the entire stuff by the subject. And if I get in everything by the subject, I want you to give me the number of subscribers. So number subscribers, right? Then I'll just go with dot sum or dot count, right? So if I run it like that, it's going to give me the number of subscribers for each and every subject. So this is the correct approach. This one gives us the number of courses per subject, which is quite a lot. But to find the number of people who subscribe to a particular subject, use the group by, right? So if you check the business finance, we have about, wow, that's how much, this and then this. That is about 1 million people for business, and then you can see the difference, right? Very cool. So you can actually plot it out to make it better for you. So one nice thing about pandas is that to plot, you just chain it, right? So this is the number of subscribers per subject. Let's do the plot for it to see it clearer. So this is going to be the plot of the number of subscribers. So I just come back again, then dot plot kind is equal to bar, right? So we'll be doing the bar chart, will give us the plot. Very nice. So you can see the difference. So the most numerous there we have is web development, right? Although the number of courses in our data set, as we saw here, right, it's just 1%, one difference, right, between the web development and business finance. More people subscribe to web development than for business, right? And it's obvious, right? Very nice. So that is very cool. You can see the difference is too much. So in case you want to do any course for Udemy, you have to sell inside this particular place, web development. Okay, based on this data set. Now let's move on to another plot you can also do. So I can copy the same plot. This is a normal bar plot. You can also do another plot for, let's say, pie chart, right? As we saw earlier on. So if I go with pie, change it from bar to pie. That is how simple it is, right? I'm not going to change the size, but you can see the difference, right? You can see that this is better, right? The number of subscribers for web development is so high, right? Very cool. That is something basic you can do. Now let's move on to another plot you can also do. So we can give a simple narrative of what that you have done so far. So the narrative is that we have more subscribers for web development than business finance, right? And then we also have, like, we have more. So the top subject category is web dev, as you can see, and then business finance, right? But the number of subscribers are more in web dev. That is a simple narrative you can also write, so that in the future you can know what you have done so far. Something very simple. Now let's move on to the number of subscribers. How can we find how many subscribers we have? So let's check back some of the questions we have. So which average number of subscribers? We are supposed to answer this question. And which course has the highest number of subscribers, right? So we'll be trying to check that one also. So let's check for the average number of subscribers, and then which course has the highest number. So that is this one. So we can move on to this option here. I'm going to get the total number of subscribers. So we want to know how many people have subscribed are inside Udemy platform, and then later we also check for the average number of subscribers. So these are the two questions we'll be trying to answer. So to get the total number, it's going to be my df, right, my num subscriber. If I go with this option, it's going to give me all of these particular values, right? So these are all the number of subscribers. Then I just go with .sum. If I go with .sum, it's going to add them all together and give me the number of subscribers, which is about 11 million. Wow. Wow, that is too much. Right, so there is about 11 million people have subscribed to Udemy. Right, that is too much. Wow, that is like bigger than somebody's country. Okay, that is the number of average total number of subscribers. We can also get the average number of subscribers per every course by coming back again and do the same thing we did. So df.num subscribers for every course, right? And just go with this option .mean. So this is going to give us the average number of subscribers. So anytime you are doing a course, you should be expecting this particular. It's giving us an error because we forgot the key value. So key error. Anytime you see key error, it means that it's checking in through the data set like key value pair and can't find this particular name, right? That is why it's giving this key error. So if you check it here, so number subscriber, this number subscriber can't be found because the name is wrong and doesn't exist. That's why it's giving us this error. So you must spell it well. Run it like that, it's going to give me wow. So this is the average amount. So in case you are doing course, you should always be expecting that this is the average number you can get. Let's check for the minimum number you can also get within minimum number of subscribers. Of course, the minimum number is going to be 0. And I'm surprised there's going to be a course that is having this. So you can see that this is going to be our minimum number, right? Using just me. And it's 0, right? Of course, I'm surprised somebody there are 0 subscribers for a course. Okay, then let's check for the maximum. You can also do the same thing for the maximum number of courses, or the maximum number of subscribers, not of courses. If I change it from min to max, right, you can get the maximum. So this is the maximum number of courses, right, or maximum number of subscribers. So we can actually check for the particular course that is having the maximum number of courses, right? You can actually check for it. So let's check for that. So which course? So which course has the highest number of subscribers? So I want to know the course, that particular course that is having the highest number of subscribers. So how do we do that? Right, we already got this one, right? So we can also use the same idea to use IDS max to help us get that particular location. So this, then IDS max, going to give us that particular location, which is 2,832, right? So this is the location. So to get this location, you can just go back with this. So to get the location, just go with df, right, dot ilog and pass in here. So passing this number is going to fetch a particular course for me, and then wow, this is a course. Like I said, this is the same value here, the same value that we got here, right? So this is the course with the highest number of subscribers. Wow. And let's see the dates. Sometimes the timing may also be passed. So this is 2003, so it's just possible. And it's also about what, HTML, which is one of the core programming languages in the world. So this is the course with the highest number of subscribers, but it can be that it's not the course with the highest profit, right? So we'll be trying to check profitability of courses there. So that is something about the subscribers. So let's write a simple narrative. The narrative that Udemy has over 11 million subscribers, and then we have the highest number. So highest number of subs is 2,000, right? 2,000 and this particular value 26,000. Oh boy, is it 26,000? No, 260,000. Wow, that is a lot. Okay, that is 260. We can also get the average number of courses. So the average number of subs that you, in case you do any, because it's around 3,001. So that is the average number of courses. So in case you do any course, you should be expecting this average, right? So you should budget for this 3,000 people. That is the simple overview of it. that is a simple narrative we have on this. Apologies for the noise you're hearing behind. Okay, so I don't know whether everybody can hear me. So that is a simple narrative. Now let's move on from the subject. Let's check and see whether we are going to do something about the subscribers. We have gotten this one, right? And we have gotten the number of subscribers. So which course has the highest number? We have gotten this one. Now let's move on to another one. We can also work on the levels, which is similar. So I'll work on the levels, then you come back to the year later on, right? To save us time. So let's check on this particular one for the levels. So this is going to be the questions you'll be answering for the number of for the levels, right? So let's check it out. Okay, so let's see. So I'm going to come back down here, create some space. I'm going to ask how many levels do we have in our courses. That's going to be the first question. Because I want to know how many levels we have. It's going to be very simple. So this option here, then df my levels column. So we have the levels. So this is the level. Hopefully this level right here. Then in case I want to get how many of them, so dot unique as we did earlier on. This will give me the different levels we have. So we have about 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 main levels. Like that is 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 levels. This is not part. This is an anomaly. You have to remove this one, right? So we have 4 levels there. So what is the distribution of the courses per level? So how can we find this particular question? So we can just do the same thing that we did above. So this question here can be solved in this way. So df, right? Then I can just go with the level. Then I can just do value count. So if I do value count, I'm going to keep in the same thing we did, right? So there's the distribution, and I can also plot it out. So there are more people inside all levels than beginner. Wow. I can just do the normal plots we did. It's plot the kind is equal to bar. Then do another one for the pie chart, right? So this is it. So you can see from the picture that there are a lot of people that belongs to the all levels, then followed by beginner, then intermediate. And expert level is very few. So anytime you are doing a course, you should be targeting all levels or beginner. Don't go here, right? Because you're not going to get a lot of people. Okay, so that is something simple. You can also do another one here for the same thing we did, but this time you're using pie chart, right? If I work with pie chart, it's going to give me the distribution of courses per the levels. Very nice. That is very cool. So we can also do, we can now combine what you have done so far. We can also combine. So how many, so which subject have the highest level? So you can combine the subject and the levels together, right? And you can also check for how many subscribers per level. So we can also do this same thing here. So let's check for how many subscribers per levels. You'll not be answering all the questions, but you'll be answering what we can, right? So how many subscribers do we have for a level? So you can just do with this option. So df dot group by, right, as we did earlier on, group by. What am I searching for? I want to get the levels, then I also want to get the number of subscribers per level. So num subscribers, right? Then I can just go with dot value or dot count. So it's going to give us the count for each and every one of them. So you can see that this is it, right? So the number of levels, this one looks almost like the value count we did here. It looks like almost like the value count we did here, right? It's almost the same thing, right? But that is not the correct answer, because we want to get how many subscribers. We have to move on from count, right, to sum. If I go with sum, now we're going to sum them up and give us the result. So this is the right solution. So the count is going to give us the value count. That is the different data points. But the sum is going to pick that particular numbers column and then add them for us. So if it's going to add all of them, so it's going to go this way. There. Num subscribers together with the levels. So it's going to pick these two columns, the num subscribers and the levels. That's going to give us the result of what we want, right? If I go back again, it's going to pick these ones here, this and this for all of them, and add all of this together to give us our result, right? So that is what it's doing behind the scene. And you can see that it is too much. So we can actually plot this one out also. So let's plot it out. So it's going to be a plot. So so this is something very simple, right? As you can see, it was just giving us, looking at our chart here. So this is the number of subscribers. As you can see, all levels have more, right? Apologies. So that is something very simple. Now let's move on to some other stuff you can also do. Perfect. So we have been able to do something very simple. Now let's see, we have gotten how many subscribers per levels, right? Using a simple bar chart. You can also do the same thing with pie chart as we have been doing. So it is going to be the same thing, dot plot. Then the kind is going to be pi. It is another way. So how many subscribers per levels, right? For them. And you can see that it's very huge, right? Wow. That is something very simple. Now let's combine, we have combined the levels, subscribers. Now let's combine the subjects together with the level. So we had this particular question we're supposed to answer. We have gotten how many subscribers per levels. We have done that. Now let's combine which subject has the highest levels, right? So we also saw that one, which is part of the courses, right? But you can also combine it. You can combine the subscribers and then the levels together. So let's try that one together. So it's going to be how many courses. So let's combine how many. We're combining how many subjects, right? Or how many levels per a subject. So be picking every subject. We're going to find how many different levels do we have, right? So it's going to be my df.group by. See how I spell group by? Group by, and I pass in my levels. Or you can even pass in the subject first, it depends on what you want. So I want to get how many, so group the entire tab by the subject, right? Then get me the levels. So levels. Then I want to get the value count. So it's going to be count. We can even do value count, it's still going to work. So value count. Right, and if you check it out, this is levels. It's giving us the right. So for the subject or the categories you have business finance, these are all the individual levels for all of them, right? Very cool and very nice. So how do we plot this one out? So this is how many levels per subject. You can also do the same thing like for the lectures and then the rest, right? So let's see how to actually plot this one out. So how do you plot it out? So it's very simple. Just as in pandas, we can do some chaining of functions. So I'll come down here. Then I'm going to see how to plot this one out. So I'll copy and paste it here. It's going to be the plot of how many levels per subject. Just go with this dot plot. Right, just go with kind. Then specify that I want to get a bar chart. So this will give you a very nice bar chart for it. I don't know whether you can do bar chart for this. I don't think so. So just giving us the levels, right? So the business, all the levels, this is the amount and this is the amount. You can also do them like a stack plot using Seaborn. So let's try and see how to use Seaborn to help us with that particular activity. So this is going to be using Seaborn. So using Seaborn to plot, right? So it's going to be this. So we have my data frame that we have. So this is going to be the data frame that we are working on. We are comparing the levels, right, together with the subject, right, to be able to find a very nice plot. So instead of redoing it like this, as you are using matplotlib, you want to join them together in a very nice format, like stack them together. So I can just come back again and do sns.bar plot. I pass in the column I want. Right, so I can just go with my s, which is going to be the level. S is going to be level, right? I want to get the level. Then the y, I can specify the y to be the number of subscribers. Right, perfect. And then I can also move on to the other stuff you can also do, which is like, let's say the hue. I can specify the hue to be the subject or the levels, right? It's still going to work. So let's use the subject first. Then I'll pass in my data. So data. So let's plot this one out. So there's another way we can also plot it out, right? So we are trying to plot the levels and the number of subscribers for every level using the subject, right, as the hue. So it's going to stack them together. And as you can see, this is another nice plot, but let's make it bigger because this doesn't look cool for me. So plt.figure size. See how I spelled it? See, my mind is spelling it this way and my hand is spelling it the other way. I don't know whether I've read of this, that when we rearrange words, you can be able to read it, right? once all the words are there, all the alphabets are there. So this is another way we can also plot it. Right, perfect. See that has given us this wonderful plot, which is comparing all the levels, right, and the number of subscribers for each and every level, right? Very cool. And then for the subjects too, which is very cool and very nice. In case you don't want this particular stuff here, you can just add the C1 is equal to 1. So we can come down here. In case you don't want these lines, and just do the same thing we did, and then specify that you want the CI to be equal to none. I don't know whether it's CI or let's check it out. I think it's, I don't know whether it's CI or C1. I've forgotten, but you can check it out later. Instead of now that particular line here, these lines we're having, right, they are gone. So that is another way we can also do that. And it's giving us a very nice simple plot, and we are getting some data from it. Very nice. So we have seen some cool stuff you can do with it, comparing all of them. You can also try from the number of subscribers to the number of lectures, which we have not done anything on the lectures, but we can do that later. So let's come back again. You can also change this one from this to lectures. Remember that there's also the number of lectures there, which you can also get it, right? So it's another plot you can also do, and it's still going to work, right? Because they are all numbers. So this is comparing the levels and the number of lectures. So we can also do some simple questions on the lectures before we move on to checking on the price and the title. So if I go back, we have finished with this. We have been able to get how many levels we have. We have 3 levels, 4 levels. We have all the distribution. What subject has the highest levels? We have been able to do that using the same distribution. How many subscribers per levels? We have done that. And how many courses per levels, which is also the same thing as what is the distribution of the courses per levels, right? The same thing. The same question can be framed in a different way. So you can use one thing to answer most of the questions. Let's move on to the lectures before we move on to the price and the correlation. Oh, of course, there are a lot of things we can do from this. Let's go back to the lectures. We don't have any questions on the lecture, but we can also ask some simple questions on the lectures. Then we move on to the price, right? So let's come back again to the lectures. These are EDA on lectures, right? If I go back and I check df.head, we also have a lectures column, the number of lectures column, which is this particular number of lectures, which is similar to the number of reviews. So you can even do the same thing, number of subscribers, number of reviews, number of levels, the same thing we have done. We can also repeat it for them, and it's still going to work. You can actually write a function to help you do that. So let's write that function. So it's going to be my def. So this is going to be plot num. Let's say num param, something like that, number of, then the param, something like that. Right, then I'll pass in the particular parameter. Let's call just feature. Let's call this feature. So let's call this plot number of I don't know how to call it. Whether should I call it param, should I call it feature, should I call it count? Okay, let's call it count. Right, countable feature. So this is going to be the feature that you want to get, that is the column. Then I'll pass in the same stuff we did. So I'll come to the same thing we did here. We got it here, right? So I can use this plot to give us this plot, so that if I pass it there, we can get that one here. So we can just do this option. This is another way you can also do that, right? So that if you pass in this time you're going to pass in the feature here. We are comparing it against subject, right? Then you can do the same thing we have done. This same thing we have done, we can also repeat it again for another plot. This is a bad way of plotting. We can use subplot to help us with that. So this time it's not going to be for the particular feature. This is going to be, let's say, a different stuff. So let's use a different plot. So I'll come back again and pick one of these plots, which is going to be so let's pick the group by plot to give us another plot, right? So that at least we have one plot to help us solve the issue with the lectures, right, and the reviews. So this is going to be the issue with the lecture. This is not the right way of plotting, but we will do it like that. You keep it like that. Then I'll just plot it again. So plt.show. You can use. So I'll pass in that feature here. So I can actually add a title in case you want. Let's add a title to make it look beta. So plt.title is going to be, this is going to be levels subject, so it's going to be plot of whatever parameter that has been given. Right, whatever parameter has been given. So plot of going as plot of that particular feature per level per subject, right? That is one here. Then also do another one for this one. So I'll just do this option here. So dot format. Then I'll pass in the feature there. Apologies for how long it's taking. Perfect. And you can also do another simple plot to help us know. So plt.title is going to be plot of whatever thing we want to do, right? Plot of feature, what the feature dot format. You can also use f-string in case you want, right? So yeah, let's move on like that. So now this is a simple function you have created. It's not the best way, but we will still work on it. It's just giving us an error here because we forgot to close this one. This here. If you read the error, line 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, fix it here, dot format. Now let's run it again. So in case I want to plot for the lectures, so this is going to be plot for the lectures, and then for the reviews, right? And reviews, so we'll be trying to see how to do the same thing with a simple plot. So I'll just go with my plot. Num of countable is too long a name, but we get the point. Countable feature. I'm passing that particular column I want to plot. So it's going to be the plot. Remember that all of these things is data frame, so I can just pass in the num reviews, right? It's going to give us the reviews. It's going to plot the two of the plot for us. Hopefully our function works. Okay, so we see that we have gotten our first plot, we have gotten our second plot, right? Which is quite too, but it's too big. Let's change it from this one. Let's make it 10, and let's make this one 7. So that is okay. So it's not too big. Let's run it again. So you can also use a subplot in case you want to do that. Okay, this is better, right? So we see that we have our number of plots, a plot of number of reviews per level per subject. Wrong English anyway, but you get the point. And then you also have this one here, right? So plot of number of reviews, right, per level. So this is per level, right? So you can also do the same thing that we have done, the same plot we have done. We can also try it on not just the number of reviews, but you can also try it on the number of, so plot of lectures, right? Because that's also number. And I'll just pass in my plot of number, the same plot that we had here. I don't know why sometimes when you tap this it doesn't work. I have to do some settings changes. Wow, I hope you're learning something. So be moving out of this simple ED and then move on to do some simple stuff, right? So let's go with the lectures, right? Let's go to also going to plot if the key is found. So you have seen how to use a simple function to help us do something else, right? So this is it for all the levels, and this is it for the plot, right? Very nice. Now let's move on to some of the questions you can also do. So we have seen how to work with these ones, the levels, the subject category, the course title. Now let's move on. Before we move on to the course title, right, let's see how to work with how profitable a course is using the price, because price is very, very important. It's our watching version. So I'll go back and I'll pick the questions on the price. You can also work on the duration, right, which is another thing you can also do, but let's work on the price. So there's another question on the price because price is very important. So EDA on price. So these are the questions we want to ask. So we want to ask, what is the average price of a course? What is the minimum, maximum? How much does Udemy earn? What is the most profitable course? So we can do that here by coming back again to this option. We have our price column, right, which is the price column here. So in case I want to get the average price, so it's going to be my mean. So it's going to give me the average price. And it's giving us an error, but you fix it. So this is going to be So the reason it's giving us an error is that it's saying that there's some floats here, could not convert string to float. So there's some floats there, right? So we have to convert them. There's also some free there because some of the courses are free. So we have to also remove them out. So let's check it out. So let's fix that one out. Remember that apart from this one, apart from this particular column of the price, we also have another column for there, right? So since it's given us a 0, we can just fix it by coming back and check for the D type. If I check for the D type of this particular column, you see that now it is object, right? So we have to make sure that we convert it to the right one. So let's get all the unique price. I want to filter it out. So df dot price dot unique. This is using dot notation. It's still going to work. Inside we have some true here, right? So true is not this thing, so we have to convert it to one. So I can just come back and replace it. So df dot, right, there is true, there's also free right? So we have to make sure that we change them. So it's going to be df dot, let's use the bracket notation. That is the recommended best way. Dot string, because it's a string. Dot replace. Then I'll pass in that I want to replace any place I find the word free, or I find the word true, capital E, with the word 0, right? So this is another way. It's going to replace it perfectly for us. So it's giving us an error, but we will fix it. Don't worry about it. Right? It's giving us an error. So the reason it's giving us this error is because of the type, right? So we have to just check it out. So it must be a string. So REPL must be a string or a collabo. So today I'm actually showing you how we read errors. So I just convert this one here to this. So if I run it, now it's going to convert it perfectly well. Perfect, right? So it has done it for us. So now I can actually replace that particular column. So df the price column. It's going to replace it perfectly for us. Perfect. Now if I go back and I check it again, dot price dot unique. Why am I calling it Prince? Let's finish it up. Now if I check it back again, we only have numbers, right? But these are strings, so you have to convert them. So you have to convert this entire stuff into the right type. So let's do some simple casting. So df dot price. Is somebody called Prince? Dot as type. Yeah, casting it to a float. I think the best option is to cast it to, you can cast it to integer or float, but I prefer to cast it into float because, right? Perfect. So now let's convert the entire stuff back. So this is going to be the best option. So you have seen how to do some simple data cleaning. Perfect. Now if I go back and I want to get the average, so this, now we're going to answer our question here. So I want to get what is the average. Because I want to get the average. Now I can answer that question. So df dot price. Then I'll come back again. Dot mean. So now it's going to give us the option. So we can get the average price. So in case you want to do Udemy course, this is the average price, 65, right? As average price. So you have to be targeting around 65 as average price. In case you also want to get the minimum and the maximum price, so let's check the maximum price, because we can't check the minimum because the minimum is 0, it's free, right? So this is going to be the maximum price, so max price. So I'll just come back again and go with max. And we can also check for, that is 200, right? That is the highest limit. You cannot sell more prices more than 100. Now we can also check for the location of maximum prices, which is going to be a lot. And just do the same thing we did ID max. So IDX max. Of course, it's going to give us a lot of ones. So 0, right? The first course itself is the first course. So df.ilog. The first course is 200. Right? That is the first course. It's an investment course. The price is 200. So that is something very simple you have done. You see that there is also an is paid column here. So you can also check for the frequency of courses that are paid and the frequency of courses that are not paid, right? So that is how. Now let's do some simple feature engineering. In case I want to get what is the most profitable course. In case I want to get the most profitable course, how do I do that? So the profit is going to be the price, right, of that course times the number of subscribers. That is how we are going to get the profitability. So df.profit, right, it's going to be my price column plus the the number of subscribers column. Not plus, but times. So this is how to get the number of subscribers, the profitability of the course. So subscribers. So let's check it out. Now, in case I want to get it out, so this is going to be a result, right? Wow, these are all in dollars, so they are not in they are in dollars, not in pounds. So in case I want to get the maximum, the most profitable course. So what is the most profitable? If I run it like that. Wow, so the most profitable course made 24 million. What? Wow, that is so interesting. Wow, so the most profitable course made. So most profitable course made 24 million. What? Not grievance, not cedis, not ruby, not yen, but dollars. Wow, that is a lot of money. Let's explore this particular person's course to see whether I can get some insight from it. So in case I want to know the course, right, it's going to be df profit, right, dot id max, idx max. So to find a particular course that made 24 million, which is this particular course. It looks like this, we have seen this number before, right? df dot ilog. I think we have seen this number before. The web developer bootcamp. Perfect. And this one makes sense because, as we saw, the most sort of course are web development, and even it's having the word web development inside, and the price is very high, right? 200. The number of subscribers is also very high, and the number of reviews is also very high, right? So that means that a person is going to make a lot of profit. So that is a very, very nice course, right? Wow. And let's see the age, the time. Oh boy, it's also having all levels. All of these things are important, and it was started in 2015, which is quite reasonable. So that is something very basic we have done with this. Now we can actually move on and do some simple plots before we move on. Now, since we have the paid, let's check how many courses in Udemy are paid. So this is going to be how many courses on Udemy are paid or free, right? You want to know that. So how do we do that? It's going to be df.isPaid column. If I check the isPaid column, we have, this is the isPaid column, right? It is Boolean. So if I check the dot unique, let's see, make sure that it's just true and false there. We have perfect. We don't have true and false. We have true, false, false, true. You have to convert these ones into something similar like this. So you can just do the same thing, mapping them. So df can map them, use a simple dictionary. Let's try that one out. So let's create a simple map. So I'll call that my paid dictionary, right? I'll paste in this one here. So we are just setting them to true. So true, true, false, false. We are changing this one false, false to the true. We are automatically converting them so that we don't need to do any casting, right? And then this one, which is an anomaly, we will just make it true as it is paid, right? Of course. Okay, so that is something very simple. So let's clear up this. This is our simple dictionary. And now I can map it. So I can just come back to that column. So df.isPaid column. And I can just map it out. So dot map, I'll pass in my paid dictionary to map it. If I run it, it's going to map it perfectly well for us. Hopefully it doesn't give us any error. True, true, true. Now I can now equate this one. So df is paid. Right, so this is going to be a better format. Perfect. Now let's check it out. So in case I want to get how many courses on Udemy are paid or free, right? Still, we are trying to still answer this particular question. How do we do that? So it's going to be very simple. We can just do the value count. So df.isPaid dot value count. Doing value count is also going to work because this is Boolean, right? The value count is supposed to be s, right? So this is the number of courses that are paid, and the number of courses that are not paid. So true means that it is paid course. So I can also plot this one out. Oh, so that means that there are a lot of paid courses on Udemy, right? Because it's a business. It's a business, and that is reasonable, right? So if I run it like that, it's going to give us this particular option here, right? Perfect. So there are more paid courses in Udemy than non-paid courses. So this plot we have done, we can also use a simple Seaborn plot. So we can use Seaborn to see SNS.count plot. Now passing the df.is paid, right? It is Boolean, but it's still going to work. We made a mistake here. It's supposed to be small case. It's still going to work, right? So you can either use this particular plot or use this one plot. And this one looks better, right? So there are more paid courses in Udemy than non-paid courses. So in case you also want to find how many paid courses in each of the categories, so this is how many paid or free courses in each subject category. So if I go with df, right, then I'll just go back dot group by. I'm passing the is paid column. So I want to group by the is paid column. I want to find how many of the courses that is paid or free belongs to each subject. Then I'm going to pass in my subject. I'm going to do a value count. Then I can actually plot this one out. So you run it, it's going to give us our result. It's supposed to be value counts. I'm making a mistake of the spelling of the count. Okay, so this is another way of doing that. So that's giving us our result, a very nice result from here. So this is the number of paid courses, right? Very cool. So can actually plot this one, right? And then we'll be stopping from here because we have done a lot of the EDA. So maybe in the next session we're trying to see how to work on it other aspects. So this dot plot kind is equal to bar. You can also use the same plot we did above, the previous plot we did for the Seaborn plot, this particular plot here, in which we stack them together, right? You can use this particular plot also. This kind of plot, you can also use the same plot on our work. So let me copy that plot, which was here. You can actually use this plot to help you with that. Come back again, because it's still talking about the subject, right? So this is how it is, but in case I want it to be better stacked together, I can just copy it and paste it here, and then I'll face it out. So I'll copy this one, and then I'll make it better. So this now level, now this is not going to be feature, this is not going to be the boolean, right? It's going to be the is paid column. Then I'll just run it again. Perfect. So we have been able to answer some simple questions. Now let's see some basic stuff you can also do. So this is a lot, right? Let's move on from this one to one more question, and then we'll move from this particular place. So we're trying to see, we can do some simple correlation, right? Questions. So let's try one. The number of subscribers depend upon number of reviews, price, number of lectures. We can use a simple group by to help us with that. So let's check that one out. This is going to be something very basic. I'll call it correlation analysis, but let's call it some correlation questions, right? So this is going to be whether a particular value depends upon the other, right? So this is what you are trying to answer. So I'll paste it here. Apologies for the noise you're hearing behind, right? I may have to end it and then continue another time. Apologies for that. So as you can see from this plot, the audio went off, right? You can see the distribution. So as the price, you can see how it is. So the number of price, the price, and number of subscribers, right? Very nice. You can see that there are more. If it is free, they have a lot of subscribers. Okay, because of the noise, so I'm just going to be very fast here. So we can also use this particular plot, a scatter plot, to help us find the relation between the price and the number of reviews. So does the price influence the number of reviews? And as you can see from here, if the price is 0, right, there are a lot of people giving us reviews. And then you can also see that if the price is also high, there's also some higher levels of reviews here. We can also use a line plot to get a better view, right? So this is one line plot trying to tell us, does the price influence subscription per subject category? So using line plot, just as we did scatter plot, passing the data, the price, and the number of subscribers, and we are specifying the subject, right, for the subject category. So you can also use this particular option here. It's going to give us a line plot. We can also use the same thing, not just for the price, but compare the price against another parameter, or compare number of reviews against number of subscribers, right? So any of them is still going to work. So it's taking some time for it to run. So that's giving us our result, and as you can see from this plot, this is does the price influence subscription per subject category? So these are the different categories, and you can see that when it is free, it is very high, right? But when the prices increases over time, so these are all the different prices, and it changes. Even you can see that this is even the web development. Also, there is a high level of subscribers, right? So that means that the price is also important. If the person see the price, they see it as valuable. Okay. Now let's check the other one, which is going to be, does the reviews influence subscription? So which is also important. This is not giving us whether it is positive review or negative review, but just the number of reviews, right? So if I check it out, we can see a very, very funny plot. This is some of the marvels of data science. See this wonderful plot that's given to us, which is quite bizarre. But we can do some other stuff with it. So let's move on from this plot and then do something on the time that we have, right? So this is going to be questions on time. So questions on the time, right? So we're trying to ask some questions on the time. So I'll come back to my stuff. So which we will not be working on this one. We will work on this one later. So let's check if we have questions on time. So we had some questions on the time, right? So we'll be trying to say, this is one of the questions, number of subscribers per year, right? And a publisher. So these are the questions, right? So trying to see how to answer these questions. Then we move on to the title. So let's check it out. So the question is, what is the number of courses per year, right? So before we do that, we have to make sure that you convert the published year column into the right format. So if I go back to df.head and I check it out, you can see that we have a column called published year, which is this particular column here. Let's go down here. You can see we have some published timestamp here, right? So this is the column we are picking, this one. So we're trying to pick this column and try and see how to answer the questions above. So the questions we'll be trying to answer in this particular section is that, what's the number of courses per year, the distribution of subjects per year, which year has the highest number of courses, what is the trend of courses per year. So let's see the first one. So let's convert it. So if I check it out, it is going to give us in a timestamp, right? But if I check for the data type of this, is in the format of an object, right? Or like a string or so, yeah? It's an object, so I have to make sure that I convert this one from this one into timestamp. Into, not timestamp, but convert this one into date time, right? Because it's already an object. So let's see how to do that. So if I check it out, there are several ways you can do that, but let's use the simplest approach, right? Because this one is in a timestamp, because of this T here, this is a timestamp, a full timestamp. I will split and get only the date and leave the timestamp. We can also do analysis on the timestamp, but we don't want to stress ourselves that much. So let's pick only this one. So dot head. So we have something to keep. So I want to split and pick only from this place, just the time, the date, not the timestamp. So it's going to be this. So df dot. Let's make it like this. Df dot. Right, to be able to split, this is a string, it's still an object, so dot string dot split. I'm splitting by the t. You see that there's a t here, which stands for the timestamp. If I split, it's going to split them into two, so this one and this one. And I only want not the timestamp with the z, I only want this one here. So how do I do that? So I can just go back again and get this option of the string dot get 0. So I go get 0, I'm going to get the only that particular column. So I'll copy this one here. Then I'm going to equate this one to my publish date, right? So this is the date. So it's going to be df, I'm giving it a new name, so publish date, right? That's what we need. Then the spelling of the publish is wrong, I'll correct it. Published. So this is going to be the other one. So let's take this one off so that I can have it as a record. And then this is going to give us only for that particular column, right? So we are just picking the date, not the time, right? So this option here. And now from here, we will be trying to see how to analyze this date column. So now, if I check it out, we can now convert this one, which is now a date, into a date time, right? So let's see how to do that. So now let's see how to do that, right? So I can just be using date time to help us with that. So I can just go with from date time import. We have date time, import date time to help us with that. Import date time. Pandas also have a to date time option to help us with that. And I'll create a function called convert to dt, right? And I'll pass in my x, the particular time that I want to convert. I'm going to specify my date using date time. So date time dot strip. There is a strip time, strp time. Now pass in the particular stuff I want. So I want to pass in the x. I'm going to give it the format, right? So this is going to be the format that I want to work with. Perfect, right? So it's going to strip it and give us this particular format. Then from there I can just go back to my result. I'm going to return this result as my date time. See that I call it data time. There's nothing like data time. It's date time, right? There are a lot of ways you can do this, but let's go with date time. Then I'll just go with strip f, right? String f time. Then I'll pass in my value. So this is what I want it to be. So we are converting from this particular format. So let's convert it from this format to this format, right? That is something very basic. That's what we're trying to do. Then I'll return the results. So return results. So let's see. Hopefully this function is going to work. Now, let me pick something from there and let's see whether it's going to work. I'll pick this and let's see whether it will work, right? We have to test the function first. So come back again. So convert to dt. I'll pass in this one and let's see whether it's going to work. It's giving us an error, type error. So you have to fix this particular type error. So the descriptor requires a datetime.date object, not but received a string, right? So we have to fix this one out. So we have been trying to fix this particular issue that we're having, right? And it's not working. So let me show you where the mistake is. Wow, it took me some time for me to get it. So we are supposed to change this one from here, right? So we converted it here, but we still were referring it to date, and that's why it is giving us this error. So I have to change this one to my date. I'm sure somebody saw the mistake I made. Okay, so we are using this particular function. So from date time import date time, we are using this particular function to convert we have created a simple function, right? So this function is going to help us convert our time, right? Convert the entire stuff we are doing into the right format, right? So this is a function we created. So from date time import date time, I created a function which is going to strip off that particular time, right? The timestamp from that, the time format from that. Then when you convert it into date time, you're going to convert it to the right time format, right? They're going to return it out. So if I run this particular function again, now it's going to work. Perfect. So now we can apply this function on our work. So we can just go back again to this option. So I can just do it with this option pd or df, and I'll pass in my publish date. You can also use option, but let's go with this publish date, right? Then I'll just use lambda. So dot apply. I can just use lambda function. So lambda x is another way you can also do that. I can just convert. So convert to dt. This has been a long tutorial. I'm passing the x, right? So let's equate this one to the right format. So df publish. Let's make sure that it's working first before we equate. So we are just using lambda to do the conversion. It's giving us an error. So the reason it's giving us an error is because let's see what it's trying to tell us. So blah blah blah. There is a 3 hours format there, so you have to make sure that we match it well. But everything is working, right? And let's come back again. Now the time data 3 hours does not match it, right? So you have to take off this particular time data 3 hours. So I can just come back again to this thing that we have. I don't know how we got this publish date. Then I can just strip it of dot. I want to replace that one. So dot string dot replace. I want to replace this 3 hour stuff with today's date, right? Or the dates, which is going to be 2017, just as we have been doing above here. So I can replace this with this. Let's replace it with this particular option, and then we'll try and run the function again. So sometimes doing data cleaning, data analysis is not easy. So I'm going to replace a particular 3 hours with this. Hopefully it's able to find it. Yes, just able to find it. So now I can equate it. Right, I'm equating it to this published date, then I'll apply the function on it. So now I can just push this one. I can now, so that we see the error we had previously. So now we'll be facing the error. So if I run it again, voila, we have been able to face it. Wow, it took us some time. Wow. So let me position this one more. So this one is above here. Okay, that is something very simple. We have been able to get the date. Now we can do some simple basic analysis on this. So let's see how to do the date conversion. So I'll equate this one again to the right option. Right, perfect. So if I equate it, now everything is well. And from here, we can now do stuff. So if I check for the date types, so the df.d types, so that column is now going to be in the format of a datetime object, right? So we can actually manipulate it. So that one is still did not give us, but it's still an object. But anyway, we'll still work on it. You can actually convert this one now. You can now convert it with PD. So let's do this option again. You can now do this PD.to datetime to get it in pandas data frame. Now I'll pass in this column and I'll pass in the format. So the format is the same format we had here. So I'll copy the same format. This is a long way, but at least you're able to get the point. Wow, I don't know how many hours you have spent on this. we are not even finished with majority of them, so I have to fix this one. So we are now converting to pandas data frame. Perfect. Hopefully it doesn't give us any error. Now if I go back and I check for the D types, you can get it well, right? Wow. Okay, so everything is well, and this is in the daytime. So since in the daytime, you can actually pick the year column. You can also pick the day. Well, let's pick the month first. Then you can also pick the year, the day, right? So I can just come back again to the same place. Just go with df, right? I'll pass in the published date. Wait. Since this one is now in datetime object, I can just go with dt. Now I'll pick what I want to pick. So in case I want to pick the year, I can just go with the year. Go to pick the year. In case I want to pick the month, so month, right, and then the day. So that is the beauty of working with this. So this is going to be day. You have made a mistake somewhere, you have to go to fix it with this. Publish date. Right, so this is another way. So you can just get the year, days, and month, right? You can now do analysis of it. You can now just group by date. So you can just do a simple plus of df dot group by. So I want to group by the year, right? And I can now just search for the number of subscribers. Dot value count or dot count. Right, so you can actually do this one to find the number of subscribers per year, right? So this is a very simple way. You can actually plot these ones out. Wow, which is quite a lot. So let's try and see how to plot this. So it's going to give us the plot of number of count. So plot of subscribers per year. So you can just do a normal line plot. So kind is going to, can be a bar chart. You can use a bar chart, you can use a line chart, you can use the line plot we did above. All of them are going to still work. So this is how to do the plot, right? So whilst it's taking some time, you can also use this particular option to get the plot. So we have done a lot of things. We have done so many plots, so many analysis. So in the next session, we're trying to see how to work with the course title to be doing keyword extraction. So we have done most of the things we have so far, right? We are still here doing a lot of things. So in the next session, we're trying to pick the course title and do keyword extraction, and then try and see from there whether we'll be able to do recommendation system. We have taken so much time. Wow. So let's check and see what you have done so far. So this is the plot. Similar plot like this is going to be generated per the year, right? It's taking some time for you to run because it's a lot of plots. So thank you for watching this tutorial, and see you in the next session. So in the next session, we're trying to work on this one and this one. See you in the next session. Stay blessed. Bye.